Hello, and welcome to this special SBC Awards 2024 edition of iGaming Daily, where we'll be looking at how to craft a winning entry, or at the very least, how to give your business the very best chance of success. And this discussion couldn't really be more timely, as although the awards ceremony in Lisbon is not until 26th September, the deadline for entries is 20th of June, so you've just got a few days left to get your submissions in. I'm Martyn, Project Director for SBC Media, and joining me today to share some of the secrets of how to win industry awards is Jay Moore, co-founder of Betting Hero. Hi, Jay.
Hi, Martyn. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, no, it's good, and nice to have somebody on what we could also brand the special Macclesfield edition of iGaming Daily today. So
that's right. Yeah, it's been a number of years since I lived there, but I did visit the UK a couple of weeks ago and spent some time in the old stomping ground. So it's been a while. I always miss being.
Yeah, well, it's a nice part of the world to live in, despite the fact you've moved 3,600 miles away, according to Google. So,
yeah, that feels about right. Part by design, but also part.
Sure. Okay, so I should probably point out to listeners and viewers that the reason we invited you to take part today, Jay, is that Betting Hero is a sort of serial winner of awards, including both Casino Affiliate of the Year and Employer of the Year at the SBC North America Awards, along with 4 silver prizes at those awards, all just within 3 years. So a bit of a track record, some nice pedigree there, so for people to listen to.
Yeah, look, hopefully I have some valuable insights to share. We take awards really seriously. It's partly because we are competitive by nature, but also it's a great reminder as you're filling these submissions out about some of the accomplishments that you've been able to achieve. So, we look at it from that aspect as well. And we've been fortunate to win a couple of awards in the last 2 years and be runner-up in 2 or 3 others in that same period of time. We waited to submit our nominations for these awards until we'd really established ourselves as a company in space, because we wanted to win when we eventually did submit. So hopefully we found a formula now to how to do that, most importantly being a deserving winner. But happy to share some of the tips and tricks that we made.
I think the other thing is you quite often see the award wins used for sort of marketing purposes and so on. It's also just great recognition for your team as well internally, isn't it? Almost a reassurance that the work they've done is really worthwhile and progressive, and they are working for a leading company as well. So there's some nice internal benefits for you as well as promotional ones.
Yeah, honestly, we look at that as far more valuable. Of course, from a recruiting standpoint, if you win Employer of the Year, you have a good chance of being able to better recruit the year following. But being recognized as Casino Affiliate of the Year, that probably means we already work with most of the clients that we're going to work with. So from that standpoint, it's really about recognition for the hard work being done by our employees and obviously the sacrifices that they make. That's why we try to bring as many of our employees as we can to the award ceremonies, because if we do get up on stage, we want every single person to be up there with us. So you're absolutely right.
Sure. Okay, so before I squeeze you for a little advice for our audience, I want to mention that this particular iteration of the SBC Awards is slightly different from past editions. So this year in Lisbon, all the categories in the awards are global, so no solely European-focused categories anymore. So it really is a chance to prove your company is the best of the best in the international market. So with that, just to get us started, other than actually, the basics of reading the criteria before you put pen to paper on it, and tailoring your submission towards those criteria, what do you think at a sort of an overall level makes for a good award submission?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's one I've asked myself dozens and dozens of times, because as much as we've had success in the recent past, when we first began to submit nominations for these awards, we weren't successful. We did not win anything, if I remember correctly, until the second or third year that we began to submit. So we learned a lot during that process as well, and understanding what needs to be within a submission, but also what are the judges looking for, what's going to stand out, what's truly going to differentiate you from the competition. And that's what this is. It's about differentiation. It's about performance. So I think at the highest level, how can you tell a story that's compelling, but also how can you justify the deservedness to win an award based on your performance from the prevailing 12 months? If you struggle to answer that question regarding a specific award nomination, then you're probably not going to win. There have been awards that we've submitted for in the past, and then things have changed in our business, or we haven't submitted for later on, because we don't believe that we're deserving to win. And if it's difficult for us to justify how we might win an award, then it's going to be extremely difficult for a judge. So at a highest level, have a deserving chance to win an award based on merit, based on performance that's gone before, and then be able to craft a story around that message, craft a story around that performance that entices the judge, that entices the judges to read on and believe in whatever the story or the message may be. So obviously it's a little bit of an art and a science combined here. You need to have the art and the creativity to write a compelling story that makes sense in the industry, but you need to have the science that also makes sense based on the actual performance and the data, the supporting facts and figures that justify a winning submission. So those would be the things that I would primarily focus on.
Yeah, I think that's right. There are lots of companies in this industry who are doing a really good job, that providing extremely good service to their customers and so on. But you have to. There's a little bit more to it than that to win the awards. Is you have to put the effort into the entry itself. So part of it is little things like filling out the entry form in the way that it's designed, and not just downloading a bit of information from the website and uploading it, because a judge might be looking at 100 submissions in your category to before putting together the shortlist. So that's make it as easy as possible for them to digest that information.
Yeah. If I could interrupt, I mean, one of the things that I think about when submitting these awards, and up until this year, I've submitted every single award nomination on our behalf. This year, we've engaged with a PR firm who help us put the finishing touches on the award nominations, just to save, honestly, on time. Yeah. Because there are a lot of nominations that we're putting forward. But up until that point, everything was coming from me. And I basically signed off on every single nomination that we had. And the first thing that I would challenge myself on is, on every single award nomination, have I completed every single section? And have I done so to the level at which that we're going to be satisfied with? And what that means is, if there is an ask for a supporting document or a video or a quote or a comment from a client, I will fill in those gaps first. Because everything else can be backfilled, i.e. the story or the justification or the facts and figures. But it's really important to have a piece of data or a piece of insight in every single box that's on the nomination form. Yeah. If you start there, then you know that at least you're not going to miss anything. That's probably where the judges are going to rule out nominations first, is who took the time to make sure that the nomination was filled out correctly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Part of it is making sure you do a thorough job on that submission, and also, the evidence, providing some evidence to back up your claims is hugely important in this, because most companies have a good marketing department who can tell a good story. It's can you prove that? So we've actually changed the awards forms for the first time, moving on to the Lisbon Awards in September, and essentially 4 sections now. First one is provide a sort of a short overall synopsis as to why you think you should win, why you meet the criteria. Then the second part is what we're calling the competitive advantage. So we're asking how your product or service has given your business a competitive advantage, or perhaps it helps give your customers a competitive advantage. And then after that, we're moving on to what we call the proof, the evidence. So a section with some facts and figures to back up your nomination. And then finally, can you give us a success story? Can you evidence that your product or your service has been hugely successful? And then in an ideal world, if you've got a customer who will give you a testimonial for that, or perhaps if you're going into the Employer of the Year category, which you've had success in the past, do you have some support from your employees even to state what a good company you are to work for? So it's all about using those 4 steps to build that story, to show the judges why you're such a deserving case in there. And although we have changed this system from the one we used in New Jersey a bit earlier in the year when you had some success in the Casino Affiliate of the Year category, I was looking back at your entry for that a bit earlier on, and you kind of hit all those things in that submission without having those prompts all the way through. So I'm not going to read out or share the submission, because one thing to say about these things is they are confidential. The judges have signed agreements to say they're not going to share the information in it. So you can share some proper commercial data with us and it'll go no further. But I was just looking through this. The story you've told about the huge number of new depositing customers you delivered, how you've done that as well is really interesting. And then you followed that up at the end with a glowing reference from one of your partners there. So really, overall, it's a compelling story you've told there. So just wonder if you perhaps can tell us a little bit about the thinking and why you chose the particular information you had in that submission.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting. As the submission form changed for the global awards coming up, we looked at our nominations in years past and actually agreed that we were doing something quite similar to this format anyway. Certainly some changes here to be made, but ultimately the format that we've been using has been quite similar. And really it comes back to my background in recruiting, which sounds crazy. How is there a correlation between recruiting and award nominations? But it's much like building a resume. So in a resume, in a good resume, you will tell the company that you're trying to work for what you can do. Then you'll tell them how you did it, and then you'll tell them what you did. That's kind of how a resume is formatted, and that's very much how an award nomination should be formatted in our opinion as well. So we'll tell you about who we are. That's the synopsis. We'll tell you about what we do. That's the description. We'll tell you about how we did it. That's the facts and figures. And then we'll tell you about what we did again. And that is the supporting evidence or the case study of success. So in this case, and for us in particular, we're quite a unique company. We are traditionally seen as an affiliate, although we provide a lot of services that no other affiliates provide. We also do even the affiliate part of our business. We do that very differently than competition. For example, we are truly an omni-channel affiliate. We have digital assets, just like any of the larger affiliates that are in the space. We also have an enormous offline affiliate base with our live activation teams. So the first thing that we always need to do is actually introduce our type of affiliation to the judges, to our clients, because if they're not familiar with us, that it's going to be a little confusing. So we try to introduce who we are and then tell them what we do, and then we back that up with performance, facts, and figures. Not many affiliates have acquired over 500,000 customers in the last 6 years. So we're in a very small group of affiliates in that respect. especially the way that we've done it with most of those happening in person. And then to cap that off, we want to also show the industry, the judges, that this is not a novel idea anymore. This is something that is widespread. Every operator uses this type of acquisition effort, retention effort. And if we can get a strategic partner to provide some supporting evidence on our behalf, that's only going to be more compelling. It's always more valuable to have someone else sell your story or sell your product or service than it is to sell it yourself. So that's what we try and incorporate. So I appreciate you making those comments and taking notice. Again, we've been working on this type of award nomination format for several years, and it seems to work for us pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that really stands out, which our audience can take away from that, I think, is particularly if you're a supplier and you've done something that is genuinely groundbreaking, is very different from what everyone else is doing. Just take time within your submission to explain what it is and how it's different, so the judges can get a grasp on it. Don't make an assumption that the judge will have heard of you and understand what you've done. So there's at two levels really. Tell us what it is, and then prove to us that it's worked, and then you're on your way then to at the very least being competitive against all the bigger names and perhaps some more established names. We've had some over the years. This hasn't just been about the biggest companies winning the biggest categories. We've had some companies at the time who were quite small win some of these categories, and they've gone on to do some great things.
I wouldn't put us in that category, to be honest. Last year, when we were at the North American Awards, we thought we might have a chance in one of the categories that we were shortlisted for. Those categories came and went as we were sitting at the award ceremony. The final category that we were shortlisted in was Employer of the Year. This was the category that we'd pretty much written off in terms of our ability to win, because we were up against some amazing companies that I know intimately because they're clients and partners of ours. I know just how amazing that they are. And they're much, much larger than us, publicly traded, or certainly 2, 3, 4, 5x the size of company that we are. This was not the award that we thought we were going to win moving into the evening. It was the award we won, and honestly, it was one of the most rewarding evenings of our existence, because never do you think as a small to medium-sized business that you're going to have the ability to beat large-scale companies that have been around for decades in an Employer of the Award category, which in our opinion is the most prestigious award in the offing. If we could win one award every single year, it would be the Employer of the Year award. There's no question.
Yeah, that is a great category to win, and that there are always some sort. You're up against the PLCs and so on. The really big brands and in that. So, but you've showcased two things here. One, you've put together obviously a compelling entry to get onto the shortlist, because I can tell you there's a lot of competition to get onto the shortlist in that category. But also, coming back to your original point right at the start of this, you've actually done the work to build that compelling case for it because of how you operate throughout the year, how you organise the company, and the success you've had. So thanks for taking the time to join us today, Jay. Hopefully everyone in the audience has picked out some nice tips, some things to go on as they finish off their award submissions in the next few days. I know you've already submitted for this year, so in many ways, thanks for giving your competition some tips on how to beat you, I guess.
I should have we should have waited to do this podcast for maybe another week or so. That's okay. The competition is good, and look, there are so many deserving companies to win this award. Honestly, most of the shortlisted companies could win these awards every single year. It's almost unfair that there's only one winner. We just happen to have found a formula that works for us in writing, building the award nominations. And look, If that's the only reason we win, if that's our differentiator, then I don't mind if anybody else wins as well, or instead of us. But hopefully we win because of the performance that we put down every year. And obviously the award categories that we nominate for are relevant, and we're deserving. We believe that we're deserving winners of those categories. So hopefully we're winning for those reasons, not just because of how we formulate the submissions themselves, but it's key to have a good submission that supports it. And if I've given it a couple tips here and there, then I guess those my competitors can buy me a drink at the awards dinner later in the year.
Yeah, well, I will look forward to seeing you at that dinner in Lisbon in September. But just before we go, one final reminder: final deadline for submissions, and I think we know that typically there are extensions, but genuinely, final day for award submissions this year is June the 20th. So please, if you want to enter and you want to be part of that big celebration of the industry on September 26th in Lisbon, please get your entries in as soon as possible. Other than that, thank you for listening, and thanks again, Jay, for joining us. And we'll be back again tomorrow with another edition of iGaming Daily. Thank you.